Bill, it's been a busy offseason to say the least. And now that you've had a chance to catch your breath, step back a little bit, what do you think of the way you reshaped the roster?
Well, I like it. I think we made moves that we felt were necessary. You know what? Sometimes change can be a little nerve-wracking, but a lot of the times change can be exciting. It can be a step in a new direction, and we're all excited about the changes that we've made. I've explained to so many people that it's none of this stuff is ever personal. It's all business. It's all about the hockey team. We had some really good guys that gave us great years going out, and we have some really good people coming in, and guys that are excited to be coming to Minnesota playing for the Wild.
What was it that you saw or didn't see in this team that led you to believe it was time that you had to make some of these changes?
Yeah, I think it was just the fact that it just seemed tired. And, I've been traded. I've been through this before as a player. I've seen it, in my days in Pittsburgh where things just they just keep going along. And if you don't catch it, then, the years go by pretty quick. So I just felt that, after a year, seeing what I saw, that it was time for some change. And, I'm pretty excited about the things that we've done and looking forward to playing again.
Many of the forwards that you brought in, constant theme with them is that you got a lot of guys with 1 year left on their deal. Was that done by design or just coincidence?
You know what? It definitely was a factor to give us some flexibility moving forward. These are guys that, anytime a player's in the last year of his deal, he's motivated also. And hopefully we get their best. This is a league of survival, and, you're going in without the security of a long-term deal. Your competitiveness really ramps up. But that being said, it was the player first that we were after, and then the contract situation. It just conveniently gives us some flexibility moving forward if we need it. These are all players that we believe in and wanted, and so it just kind of worked out that way too. With the 9th pick in the 2020 draft from the Ottawa 67s of the OHL, Marco Rossi.
We've talked about your first-round draft pick, Marco Rossi, and the way the draft worked, and it seemed like it went according to plan where you were able to get the player you wanted. And one of the things that you talked about immediately was this guy's drive and his motor. Is that one of the things that excites you most about him as you welcome him to the organization?
Yeah. This kid is extremely driven. I see him as a big culture type guy. When you have guys that are driven and focused, and they work at their trade, they're in top shape, they care what they eat, they care what they, how they sleep, and all those things. That's a culture thing. That's somebody that puts all they have into it every single day. And outside of the points that he got and the way he plays and all those things, those are the things that really attracted me to Marco, and we were so lucky to get him at 9. It just worked out perfectly.
Does he look like a guy who might be ready to jump right into the NHL?
You know what? We always get excited about our picks, and we always say yes, and I'll say yes. He's that type of guy. He's that driven. I think he's strong enough to withstand like the physical nature of the league, but I also don't want to put that pressure on him. He is a young kid, and we have to remember these guys are 18 years old. A lot of them just graduating from high school, so that's a tall order to expect from a kid. So the most important thing is he's going to play when he's absolutely ready, and we're not going to force feed him. And we just want to worry about his long-term development.
There were a lot of goaltenders available in this offseason market, and you were really aggressive and went out and made one of the first signings on free agent day, bringing Cam Talbot in. How much did your analytics help you in that decision? How much did that tell you that he was the right fit for this organization?
You know, I do rely on analytics quite a bit. You know, I really have a lot of faith in Matt Sells and what he does and what he brings to the table for us. And when we were going through the goalies, it was just something that Cam really just seemed to fit really well. You know, if you look at his numbers when he was with the Rangers and when he was with the Oilers, you know, he had fantastic numbers. You know, and then he just played so many games when he was in Edmonton. I think his body may have broken down a little bit, and then, you know, he had an off year. But then he went to Calgary last year on a one-year deal, bet on himself, and got himself back to the way he can play. So if Cam can, you know, get back to the way he can play and we can continue to be a strong defensive team, I have a tremendous amount of faith in him as our number one goalie that we'll have success.
With a lot of the changes that you made, some of the guys that went out were the guys who had been the leaders inside that room. How do you replace that? Does it happen organically? Do you lean on some guys and ask them to step up in that role?
Well, we do have guys that are ready for that. You know, you've got Marcus Foligno, you've got Eriksson Ek, you've got Spurgeon, Brodin, all sorts of guys that are ready. I mean, they've been around, they've seen it. You know, I think they've been leaders in the locker room. It's just they're not maybe the oldest guys or the ones that are more in the, you know, have been in the forefront of things. But they've always been leaders, and you know, I'm confident that our team's going to be fine, and we're going to be, you know, we'll be okay.
One of the guys that left was the guy that wore the C for a long time here. What's the process like to replace that? To now come up with, how do you make the decision for who will be the next captain of the Minnesota Wild?
It's tough. Those are big shoes to fill. Mikko's he was the guy here, and there's no, you know, I make no bones about it. You know, that was the toughest thing I had to do. And you know, first of all, Mikko's a great guy. He's a heck of a player. He was a great leader, and he's done so much here that, and I got to know him very well. And I like him. He's a good guy, and so that made it really hard. But you know what? When you make a decision like that, it leaves a vacancy, and somebody's going to step up and assume that role. We'll sit down sometime soon and go through it with a fine-tooth comb and make a decision. But it's an extremely important decision to make, and you know, something that we'll take our time with.
We reached out to fans and asked them if they had any questions for you, and a few of them came back with the question about the decision to bring Dean Everson in as your permanent head coach. What made you convinced he was the right fit to be the guy to lead this team?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a number of things. And I think when our group would sit down and we were talking about what kind of coach we wanted to bring in, because we were fully set on doing a big search, and we wanted somebody that could relate to young players, and Dino checked that box. Somebody that understood the American Hockey League and the call-up situations and all that. Dino checked that box. You know what? NHL experience. He didn't have NHL experience as a head coach, but he had years as an assistant coach, and he's played over 800 games as a player. So he checked all the boxes that we were kind of looking for. And, you know, personality-wise, you know, and as a guy, we all like Dean. We all get along with Dean. So we're like, why are we going to do that? We have that exact type of guy right here that we're looking for. You know what? He needs a shot. Let's give him a shot. And so far, he has been absolutely fantastic. His communication skills with the players and his ability to relate to them and understand what they're going through has been absolutely dynamite.
Billy, thanks very much for joining us.
You got it. Thanks for having me.